Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Dave, and tonight we are joined by a lot of nerds to play some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm going to just turn it right over to our dungeon master, Nerdarchist Ted. So, to you, my friend.
Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. This is Dungeons and Delving, episode 7, as Dave has just said. We had, a lot of fun things transpire last episode. As always, you can find the people and where you might be able to find them when they're not here on this channel down in the description below. So I'm going to throw it to one of these lovely people and allow them to kind of give their version of the recap, and in turn they can pass it along to someone else. So tonight we're going to start off with Steven.
Okay, so we went into the dungeon and oh my gosh, we had a rough time of it. Real talk. Nebula almost died to an inorganic creature, which was terrifying. Burke was shooting 8 out places. Tabitha was just attitudinous and like, I'm gonna take him on head on, because why not? Because attitude problems, I guess. And meanwhile, Enzo realized that there was a cookie trap set for him with a burnt cookie, which means his evil nemesis that has now joined the competition must have set it for him. And then we disappeared. I'm going to leave the rest for somebody else, though.
So who are you tossing it to?
I'm going to toss it to Dave.
Da, da, da. I like going after Burke and not going after Burke, because he usually says all the things that happened. His memory's so good. No, I mean in a positive. I played too many games and I never remember what game I'm in. No. Oh no, I don't even have my hat. I cannot be in character. Yes, my nemesis, Chef Bob, showed up on the show out of nowhere, but he has an alias, but I refuse to acknowledge his alias. And he's a terrible cook and he burns everything. And I'm pretty sure he was involved with that trap that nailed me. And we actually had to go through a lot of traps, and we learned something about ourselves and our Delve team last week, and that is we're not good at traps. No. What do you got, Nebula?
Let's see. Okay, so we were in the dungeon, and I remember having to go through like a gauntlet kind of thing, and they had turned the magic off, and we got to turn the magic on for a short amount of time, but like it was a short amount of time. Like turning the magic off, it turns out, was a very big deal for a good number of us, and I don't think that anybody mentioned that, so I think that technically qualifies. Doug, I'm sorry that you have to follow all of that.
Oh, that's okay. Tabitha recalls prior to taking on the gauntlet, she had spent some time training in sword techniques with the sword master Raziel, which came in handy because she was able to remember some of the techniques and dodge out of a few of those traps along the way. I also remember that Burke's favorite comfort food is brownie batter and ice cream, which could come in handy in the future. And and we had several. I think we used up all of our special items. I know we blew up a bunch of spears in that spear hallway with a bomb. And I don't think we used the wall. We were gonna, but then we just dodged that boulder. And then we defeated that stone golem. And then we stepped through an archway to finish up our dungeon delve. And leveled up. But I don't know if we rested and all that.
Man. And didn't we all think just too late after we already said we walked through the archway to check the wards before we went?
Mm-hmm.
Tabitha didn't, but yeah.
Yeah.
She was denied her magic the whole time, so she is full on with her magic power if it's available wherever we are now.
Yeah, so we ended with you all stepping through the archway, wondering what it was that was going to transpire. And I will deviate from that and figure out what that is in just a moment. I am going to throw out there that if you happen to join us for our live chat last night where Doug and I were talking about vaults, the Vault of Magic over on Kickstarter is literally less than $1,100 towards the stretch goal, where you'll get to see a magic item designed by myself. If you have not thrown Kobold Press some love, go do so. Go check out that Kickstarter and back it if you would like to help achieve that goal and see what it is that I designed to be added to that book. So without further ado, let us dive into that dungeon and find out what has transpired as you have stepped through that ever so magical archway. You have seen, what has happened when you walk through and you're greeted by, the host, adorned in his orange shirt and his armor, there with, seats for all of you and the microphone to, kind of gather the questions that, are typically asked before you can head back to the locker room. You've seen what it looks like when you've walked through the opposite way, going in to try and rescue the other the shining unicorn when they were trapped. But what you are seeing this time is neither of those, though it is far more similar to what you saw on the rescue mission. You see grids of golden yellow light across a vast expanse. The only thing in any direction seems to be a hooded figure in a dark cloak with just two circles where the eyes would be. There's no form besides it. Can't tell, anything beyond a generic humanoid-esque shape. And they're about 50 feet away in front of you. But all four of you and the Ganchuan are there.
Is that a controller?
I don't know, but I would like to test and see if magic is working by doing produce flame.
It works.
Okay. The magic's on, guys. So I don't know. Nebula, what are you thinking about this?
I'm thinking that if you guys don't have a reason for me not to, I'm gonna go talk to this person.
That might be reasonable.
My arms are folded. I have got like sass posture going. Like, you know that this is not going to be, hi, how are you hours.
I'll go. I'll walk behind Nebula and sort of like put my mean face on as sort of like her bodyguard back up. Just stand there with my arms crossed.
Oh, we have the best friendship. All right, let's do this. So Tabby and I are going all mean girls, is basically what I'm hearing. Just walking up to this dude like, hey.
So as you approach, there is no change in posture, demeanor, and any attempt to read this individual does not give you any kind of signs of indication of response beyond merely the what you would expect to be this thing's eyes kind of watching and following.
Cool. So, like, I'm gonna look this thing right into like the eye holes, okay? And I don't lose any of that sass. Like the lack of response doesn't affect me in the slightest. Okay, I'm
So
just like
how close are you trying to get?
Conversational distance. I'm not like trying to get in their personal bubble or anything, but like close enough that I can comfortably speak without yelling.
So if you try to approach closer than 5 feet, you wind up finding. Well, first off, do you try to get closer than that?
No.
Okay.
No, 5 feet
never
is
mind.
pretty good conversational
All right.
distance.
Everybody has a different definition there, so I figured I would I would just clarify. I have kids; they definitely get right up in your grill.
Not lying.
So would I be right in assuming you are the person who brought us here?
Yes.
And you're here, so I have to assume you've got something to say?
The answers that I will give are limited, as I am not actually here.
Okay. Can I make a tech roll or possibly
Absolutely. Sure.
like see if this is like magical or technological in nature?
Sure. Go ahead and give me a roll.
That's gonna be 28.
Ooh.
So you've experimented with, quite a lot, with Nebula having some, albeit short-lived fame. You had a decent amount of money at one point in time, and as you are wont to do, you went and spent it on experiences, as my take would have it with Nebula.
Yes, absolutely.
And there are experiences where, for lack of a better word, a living program, where you can program everything down to the finite detail, and it all looks and acts like real. You know that there are elements within the Dungeons and Delving that you've experienced that definitely give you the feeling that, well, this could have been a real thing, or this could have been a program. So you get the idea that whatever this is, it is, you are in the middle of another program very similar to what you've experienced before. And based on the reaction that he gave you, whatever kind of responses that he could say, or it could say, are limited based on the questions and the knowledge that has been put into the programming itself.
All right. So let's start with something easy. What does your programmer want us to know?
I've been placed here to attempt to correct a wrong.
What wrong?
I am not at liberty to give that information.
Was it our wrong or someone else's?
Someone else's.
Can you tell me whose?
I cannot.
Okay. And since she figured out that this was an AI and probably not the person actually responsible for us being here, Nebula has cooled down considerably and is no longer foaming at the mouth. So I'm going to explain to the rest of the party what is going on and the reason why the answers that we can get from this entity are limited. So go on.
What does it need us to do something? I mean, we're clearly the most capable of the contestants, if anybody was to be.
2 questions. Do you need us to do something, and also do you prefer she, he, they? Because I'm pretty sure whatever it is, it's not going to be it.
There are tasks that could be accomplished, and as to predilection of choice, I have none.
Okay.
I lean into Nebula and I say, ask him if there's an NDA.
Is there a non-disclosure agreement?
That is outside the purview of my knowledge.
Okay.
It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. I'll hark about that if it works, but I'll try to. Just on the sly, getting asked by AI to help solve problem. Hashtag Octothorpe.
Okay. So, are you here to help?
Answer unknown.
Okay. Can you tell us who this wrong was against?
Question is too vague.
Who suffered?
Define suffer.
I mean, who was harmed by the wrong that you're here to correct?
No lasting injuries have transpired at the time of my programming.
Physical or emotional?
I am not programmed to respond to emotional, and no physical lasting damage has transpired at the time of my programming.
Okay.
Neither am I.
Who was the damage that didn't last on? Yeah, who is that? The damage that had happened to someone and didn't last. Who was that?
The kobold.
Is that the only wrong?
No.
Is there still wrong being done?
Yes.
Was there wrong being done by the team that was here just before we were?
That statement is incorrect.
Do you know who is perpetrating the wrongs?
I am unable to reveal that information to you.
Serafina, isn't
Hmm.
So what do you want from us?
I am not allowed to answer that question.
Ted,
Yes.
can I try to get into the programming of this thing and tweak the parameters a little bit?
Oh my.
Let me offer if I may, a way that Tabitha could help her.
Sure. Let's see what you
With
got.
my magical eyes, I can read all writing.
Okay.
And although Tabitha doesn't know about technological things, if there was some sort of coding language that Nebula could access, if it was some kind of advanced stuff, she would be able to read it. Just
Sure.
saying, if that's
so
I could help, but
I was going to give you disadvantage on this roll.
Okay.
For specific reasons.
Okay.
But if you work with Tabitha, while Tabitha is not proficient in tech, I believe,
no,
the ability to actually, break in and see the writing, the code on the wall, if you will.
Yeah.
I will, make that be a regular roll.
Yeah, I was thinking if she got
Sure.
to that point, I could interpret it for her.
It's a high DC. Be warned.
Sure.
I figured that it would be. So I'm going to be doing this very conservatively. If what I am going to do has a chance of harming the entity that I am working on, I will back out immediately and not continue. So that just putting that on the table.
Before you roll, wait.
Oh wait,
Bert's got a hand up.
Yes.
Do we know that you're doing this?
I will announce that I am. I mean, you have to if Tabitha is helping me.
Okay. Can I use my last second level spell slot?
Oh, what do you got?
I would like to cast. I need to see what it is. What it's called specifically. It is Fox's Cunning. So you have advantage on intelligence checks.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to help anything, but
that will put it to advantage.
Okay. So that's going to be 25, and that's what I rolled the first time, in case you were wondering.
Sure. All right. So you are able to get into a point, but given the parameters of what you said, you did not actually get to the DC that I had set up. And,
okay.
It was high, and I did announce that.
You did.
So
Sure.
you get to a point where you see you could attempt, but you notice that there is a hard cut line, and that if you were to try and advance and not successfully bypass that, it would terminate the program. You sense that it's going to dump you out where you are supposed to be. But since you did get a 25, you can sense that there is, beyond the contracts redactions that, you see, in old government files. You can see where there are lines where it literally, the information has not been put into a program. And you can sense that it was done that way for a specific reason.
I am probably that reason.
And you also do note that you are in essentially a bit of a time loop, not negatively, in so much that you will appear out of this the instant that you were supposed to come out of the archway.
Okay, so I inform you guys of this, that we can take our time absolutely here, because I mean, nobody's gonna notice when we come out the other side anyway. Probably nobody's looking for us. And it'll be really easy to get out. I could get us out right now, but there's things that we can find out here, and I think it's worth exploring that. That said, just the fact that this was all the case in the first place tells us a lot. The fact that whoever set this up in the first place is good at computers. They know what they're doing.
It was you, wasn't it?
No.
Nebula? No.
Wow, God, that really does point at me though, doesn't
it? Maybe you're being framed.
Wait a minute. Tabitha, it also points to that they were really good at magic too. Oh. You're right. It might have been Nebula.
It wasn't me.
Where's my board?
I would tell you if it were me.
Where's my board when I need it?
That's exactly what somebody.
Okay, listen.
Guilty.
You have been down on playing dirty this entire time. Why would I not tell you?
That's true.
She's got a point.
Yeah, but also,
convinced.
I tend to talk a lot while I'm cooking. So,
he did mention the kobold, and we do know a kobold.
No, the kobold died. The kobold died, got resurrected, and then quit the game.
That's why Jorgen Flamefellow joined the competition.
We know another kobold.
Yeah.
He didn't say what kobold.
Bunny?
Yeah.
Can I look back into the code and see if I can find the bunny ears ASCI'd anywhere in this?
I was just picturing the ASCII.
In all of your searching, there is nothing that were to speak of that. But you would also, if you wish to keep your suspicious angle in check, you're also pretty confident that Craig would have an idea of your skills and would not leave such sloppy evidence behind.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You can either look at it as proof that he isn't, or not proof that it isn't.
I honestly feel like if we went and asked him, he probably would be honest with us, because he has no reason not to be. We're his team. So I'm going to put that in my back pocket. And then for now, we can sit here and we can ask this AI just whatever else that we have to ask this AI, see what, because I don't think that we should be married to this idea. I don't think that this is a thing that we need to be sitting on like it's the end all be all of everything that could be happening right now. So, okay. Who else could be doing this? And remember that it's got to be somebody that knows enough about machines to have gotten it to happen in the first place. So it could be anyone that's working on the game, or anyone that's competing with us that has a good handle on how technology and magic work.
I don't feel like anyone that's in the game is that's competing.
I don't think that Seraphina is that subtle. I feel like that's too obvious, and I don't feel like she'd have been able to do this.
Also, I don't feel like they would bring us here for this if you can just bring us back. And apparently we're supposed to find or do something here.
Oh yeah, obviously we're supposed to find something, because if we can just get out, like these people know what we can do. Like it would have been stupid to put us here and expect us to just get stuck, and it would have been stupid to do that in a time loop like we are if we were supposed to get in trouble somehow. Like, no, this is a trail of breadcrumbs.
What are you called? I ask it.
I am merely a program.
What's the name of the program? Programs have names.
What's your purpose?
I was not gifted a name.
Do you want one?
We need to name it.
When you exit this place, this will disappear. I will disappear.
Created. So your only purpose is to deliver information to us.
Correct.
Okay,
From
deliver
this-
the information.
From this point on, I can only either confirm or deny statements.
Okay.
Will you tell us the truth?
Were you created by one of the controllers?
Yes.
Hmm.
Was
Did
it
something
Billy?
go wrong with the game? Something they didn't expect?
That is indefinable.
But it didn't say no.
Has something
didn't
like
say
this
no.
happened before?
No.
Okay. Hmm.
Can the problem be fixed from where we're at in this place?
No.
It's a problem created by another team.
Maybe we have to wait for the other team to arrive. The only ones
To-
left were the flumps. They were
Time
high
isn't
on the
passing
suspect.
outside.
All right. So you've said quite a lot. To
I know. After one of us asks a question, let him answer, please.
Sorry.
Enzo, he says yes.
Is it only one person or is it the entire team? Well, I should say, is it only
Yeah,
one
commit to
person?
one.
I do not possess that knowledge.
So it's another player.
Is it the Shining
multiple other
Unicorns?
players.
It's those fart pancakes.
I am not programmed with who.
Hmm.
Okay, so whoever put this here did so without wanting us to know specifically which team it was, but wanting us to know that there was an issue. Which is interesting. I find that really interesting.
Probably because we're the only ones that actually bothered to do something when something went wrong.
Is that true?
Yes.
Are the controllers being stopped from fixing the problem?
I do not have this knowledge.
Hmm.
So I turned into the rest of the team. So why did they need us to fix it? If the controller works for the show, why can't the show just fix it?
Maybe for the drama?
Maybe
I
they're
doubt
being
that.
blackmailed.
Oh. Are the people who programmed use hands tied, either metaphorically or literally?
That's a good question.
No.
Okay. So they want us to do it for some other reason then.
Ratings.
Is it ratings?
No.
Does anyone
would've been great,
other than your creator know you exist?
No.
Okay.
We know you exist. You can lie. You're lying to us.
Are we being tested?
No.
Are you scared for your purpose to be fulfilled?
No.
Hmm.
So while I was in the programming, there wasn't like any emotional stuff or anything. This is like legitimately just a program and not a proper AI. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. This
Okay.
Oh.
this looked to be created for a specific purpose. You know, when he stated that like this was basically like a self-deleting program. When you
So
exit
self-destruction.
whatever those parameters are, it will cease to exist, and all data parts of it will be permanently erased, so that it's not trackable, not traceable.
Does
We'll
the
disavow any knowledge of it.
yeah? Does the creator know who's behind it?
Yes.
Oh, what a dick.
But they can't even say in this place through this program.
Got to be a reason for that.
Are we being monitored right now by some other
No.
entities? Good to know.
Robin, I whispered you.
No, I saw that. I had been thinking about that myself.
Yeah.
More thinking about that when I thought that this was an actual AI and not, like just a
Mhm.
program.
Mhm.
That said, like, I out of character feel like that would be okay, so consider that this is like an entire environment. Like, where would I even store it if I were to make a copy? Like, there's a lot here. Like, we are in an environment, we are talking to this
Mhm.
artificial intelligence within parameters, though it is. All I have on me are Freddie and David.
Fair. You're not looking at server.
Yeah, you would not have the space to be able to try and copy even a portion of this, to try and gather a little bit more. And again with that, the tech check of a 25, that you even examine the layers of it, and there is, for whatever reason, there is like RAM boosting or whatever you want to refer to it as, to make the file even bigger so that it could not be copied, moved, or any of that kind of stuff.
The culprit. Have they done everything via magic?
No.
Has the culprit also employed technology?
Yes.
Were you programmed by the culprit?
No.
So not the person that's been like stealing the teams that's been causing these problems.
No.
Okay.
Was there an artificer in any of the teams? I think there was.
No.
There wasn't? Okay. I was trying to remember.
I tried to stick to the core classes.
Okay. But there was a wizard who is also part technology.
There is a Warforged, yes. That is Ted confirming, not the not the program.
Yeah.
Is that memory? Memory serves.
It was. I was I was gonna say lock, and I'm like, wrong campaign.
Yeah, what is that? Oh, that's the wizard thing. I was like, yeah, that does sound.
That's untraditionally arcade.
Yeah.
Wrong game.
What's happening?
Okay.
During at some point, this seemed, there's like some mulling and talking and questioning of this thing. I'm gonna get one of those like cool selfies where it's like close up on my face, but the thing's indistinct in the background with its glowing eyes and hood. Because
so when you take a picture, the entire form of this creature is very blurred out in pixels.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, I was going for the blur. I wanted it to like sharp on my face with the blurry, like indistinct glowing eyes.
Oh, it completely goes that direction.
Oh yeah, cool. Send that out.
Very artsy.
Man. The chat is saying the wizard did it.
I know. I just saw that. I was like, Lindsay Gloom says the wizard did it, and all I can think is that meme by Tim Hickson with like Gandalf nodding his head.
Oh yeah. But there was technology involved too, and my prime suspects have changed many times, but those flumps were all magic. But they're the only team that wasn't affected by anything.
Team Gibbering Mouthers are the ones that are the ones that are all casters. Team Flump has got a Earth Genasi, a Tabaxi, a Dwarf, and a half elf.
Oh, is that the Dungeoneer
No.
guy? I forget his name.
Dungeoneer is on Black Razor's Revenge.
Oh, okay. He's a half elf, though, right?
He is human. Tristan McKinnon.
Wow.
And what Burke would be able to tell you is that he tends to do a lot of his writing in his cabin out in the woods. Spends a lot of time being out in nature himself.
Is the team that's in the lead, is the culprit on the team that's in the lead?
I am not programmed with that knowledge.
Ansel, here's a thought though. Your rival Bab, he got in when that kobold got hurt. What if he's been behind it this whole time? And when we started interfering, then he had to be closer to the action to stop us.
Is the shenanigans going on about winning the show?
Good question.
I am not programmed with that knowledge.
Terrible AI.
My programming has come to a close. You can ask 3 more questions.
We got to make them good, guys. I'm out. Y'all 3 can have them.
All right. So huddle up. And we kind of get in close. Get in here, Hefty. Your fur will absorb sound and acoustics.
He just comes in. Oh.
Do you think we should ask if they know what race?
Isn't that racist?
No, because it's yes or no, and the answer would be yes or no, and we wouldn't learn anything.
Well, then we have 2 more questions. If we get a yes, we know we can pursue that line of thinking.
One of you can make an insight check.
I'm out.
Hold on.
What is my insight score like?
You're a ranger that uses your wisdom, right?
I have a +3 to insight, but I'm not proficient, so it's all wisdom.
What kind of insider am I? I don't think I have a +0, so your +3 is better than my +0.
I rolled for shiggles. I got an 8, so about what I expected.
All right, so is it Nebula or Burke who's going to roll?
What does your insight look like, Nebula?
Hold on, I'm finding out. I had my technology roll memorized because it's one of the things that have got like the super boost to. And this is not my D&D Beyond account. I have 2 of them on accident, and the other laptop has the other one. Hold on, this won't take me long. I'm sorry.
No.
I have to charge up my Nerdarchy dice with good vibes anyway because it doesn't always like me.
Yeah. It's fickle.
It is.
Well, Doug and I both have different viewpoints on the process. I like to do dice training. Doug likes to charge them up.
Yes, I'm just going like this right now.
Dice training.
My insight is +1.
+1. Okay, it's me.
Sounds like Burke.
All right, here we go.
He's got homespun
don't
wisdom.
Fail me now. It's super nice metal dice, by the way.
Aircraft grade aluminum, baby.
Yep. All right.
Roll them or fly them.
Okay. A dirty 20.
Nice. So everything that you've tried to get about, as you're calling the culprit, you understand that this thing has always said, I am not programmed with that knowledge. So trying to find the identity here is going in the wrong direction. So if you only have 3 questions left, you certainly you would waste 1, and using Enzo's thought pattern could possibly waste 2.
What if this is just a thought, guys, but suppose we asked if something else has already been done and what time it happened? Because if we have a time frame, somebody's probably occupied somewhere, and then
they can't answer that question.
Yes or no's.
But it could answer if it has the time frame, and then we could ask before, after certain time.
Or what if we limit it to like, what if we asked our 3 questions about the phenomena itself?
Oh,
Like,
that could work.
Like what is actually happening?
But that has to be yes or no.
It has to be yes or
yeah,
no.
yeah. Damn.
So,
Like,
is their goal to remove people from the competition? Might be a good one. Because
Yeah,
if they're
but-
just going to get replaced like Bob did, like this is me as a player talking,
Yeah.
but Bob replaced the player that was removed. So if their goal is to get players removed, it seems kind of futile.
what if we asked, do they know who's capable of creating the rune?
Ooh.
Then it would be yes or no.
Mhm.
They say no, it's just it's a dead end. If they say yes, then we have to think about how can we further limit it, because it might not be that person is the culprit, but they're capable of what was required.
They did know it was another team though that did
Yeah.
this. So how would they know that?
They have
Is there
some
footage of the person doing it? Maybe is a good question.
well, then like they couldn't give us a specific person. So like they kept it vague to the team. So
Mhm.
whatever question we ask, it has to be about a team, not a person.
Right.
Um, so like the magic team is gibbering mouthers.
Right.
Mhm.
And I don't think their score has been affected. I'm looking back through my notes. I might have missed some.
Yeah, like I
But
don't
they
think
never had any problems.
they haven't had any problems, and they also suck. So they're gonna have to do a whole lot more
they
to get up there.
Oh, that's
Unless it isn't about winning.
Unless it's not about winning.
Right, but we already asked that. We already asked if it
You
was-
know that after the second round, Gibbering Mouthers, has been in last place.
Mhm.
While they did not have the lowest score, for round 2, their total still keeps them at the bottom.
So do we ask if they know which team is suspected? Because that's a yes or no. Yes or no.
Sorry. He said he can't tell us who it would be, because he's not programmed with it. So I'm not sure he could give us an accurate answer.
Yeah, that's true.
My thought process with playing Phoenix Wright all the time, because I'm trash, is if we have time frames for things, that's a good reference point, because then we know who's occupied when doing what. We can ask those questions to the people and verify them and get stories. But if we don't even have a time frame reference, we're kind of shot. Unless we have some
so
reference.
along that vein, what about asking like when the glitches are happening, are they premeditated? We could ask if they're premeditated, as in they're set, like, are they set up beforehand?
Like, are they set up?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And then if it's yes or no, like we can from there we could kind of go. If it's no, then it means it's being done while the team is running.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like at that moment. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
All right. So are these glitches being set up before the dungeon runs?
Yes.
Okay.
So literally someone could do it to themselves if they wanted. Like that doesn't eliminate anything.
Mm-hmm. But it does make that known that it could be anybody at any time.
But we could ask, is it happening afternoon? And if they say yes, then we know, okay, it's either always happening afternoon or it's not always happening afternoon.
Yeah, but if the answer is no, then all we know is that it like isn't
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind
mean,
of a
like
gamble
that's
question.
just it's not narrowing it down enough. I don't feel.
Maybe is it always happening at the same time? Would be
So,
better.
well, I think like, oh, well, that would eliminate some things. I mean, the other thing is like, when is it most likely? When are they most likely to do it? Probably when we're all in our rooms for the night, right? So, like,
Mhm.
Well, in
you
that
know,
case, we can find that information out just by sitting and watching people.
well, that's
Mhm.
true. We could set watches and make sure that people aren't.
We wouldn't even have to set watches. I could just set Freddy out into a house plant.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Hmm.
We could add. I don't know if it would be worth narrowing down. We could ask: is more than one team capable of causing these glitches?
That's fair. But I think the answer is going to be yes,
The
because
answer is definitely going to be yes, because we're capable of doing this.
yeah.
Well, we don't have the magic to do it. We may have the tech stuff, but we don't. I don't think we have the magic.
Mm-hmm.
I
wanna
bet? I think you just insulted Nebula.
Uh-oh.
Oh no! Can you teleport us? You haven't teleported us yet.
Yes, just not very far.
So,
So do you have a question?
Mm.
we also have we have that rune, right? We have a sketch of that rune someplace.
Yes.
You do?
Mhm.
I mean,
So what are we going with?
we could
Time
also
reference, team reference.
Yeah. We could also ask if they're receiving any outside help.
Ooh, that might
That's
be
a good one.
That is a good
I think
one.
that's the one to go with.
Is the culprit team receiving any outside assistance for the glitches?
You kind of broke out there. Could you say that again, please?
Yeah, is the outside team receiving, or is the culprit team receiving any assistance with the glitches from the outside of the game, from outside of the show?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So we don't have, that eliminates at least the
Quite a bit, actually.
the wide world to look at.
Mhm.
Because I know like there's like the special VIP booths
Mhm.
we were considering. Hopefully they don't
And the
consider that part
sponsors.
of the game. Yeah.
So the sponsors are out.
So we have one more question.
Indeed.
We could ask if this person is stronger than everyone else, because we don't necessarily know for sure that everybody's the same mechanical level as us.
What about, kind of along that veins though, is this person, to the team, not to the AI yet.
Yep, sure.
Is this person in disguise? Like, are they here?
That's
Are
a
they
good
here
Under false
as
pretenses.
contestants, or have they replaced a contestant?
that's a good one.
Are they here under false pretenses?
Is that the question you're going with?
Now, that could also fall under the line of, well, that's about the culprit and they don't have that information as well.
Yeah, but if they do, then so be it. I feel like we found out enough here that we've got a next step to go in.
So maybe the question is, do you suspect any of the contestants are imposters?
Now, I will throw this out there with, for free to Burke with that insight roll. You're asking a program if it suspects something.
Well, the controller, we phrase it as the
you know that phrasing is incredibly important.
Okay.
AI are very much like Faye.
Is the creator of that program suspicious or whatever, basically that's what you want to know, right?
Yeah. Does the
Well, we should ask more than one, because we already know for sure that Bob is an imposter.
Is that a joke?
No, really, we
No,
know
he is.
Bob is an imposter.
Yeah, he's here
So-
under an
He's Jorgen
alias.
Flamefella.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Morgan
Okay.
Flamefella
You said-
is Chef Bob.
Yes.
I understand now.
Sorry, that did sound like a joke though. Now that I run it back in my head.
Well, no,
He's-
because I was thinking about like the
Bill?
stagehands Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So he's not an imposter though. He's here under an alias. Like he's not
So he's not-
pretending to be someone specific.
Unless Jorgen Flamefella somebody killed. Took over.
Well,
their
that's
identity.
true as well.
He burnt
Maybe
them.
he burned them.
Lindsay's my new hero.
Right?
So, Ted, do we know or think whether or not the AI would differentiate between alias and imposter, or stage name and imposter?
I would say that the term imposter would not link the same thing to an alias.
Yeah, because we want to
They
imply that someone's impersonating someone in the show. They're not really who they say they are.
Correct.
Or they're trying to play themselves as someone specifically. It's a fucking doppelganger.
I mean, we are playing D&D. Doppelgangers could absolutely be a thing.
Mhm.
Plenty of magic and what have you.
Look sidelong at my companions.
You guys totally know that there are some teams that individuals don't spend a long time in the locker room, common room area. Certain people converse with you.
So here's the question as I'm thinking it. Does your creator believe one of the contestants is being impersonated by someone or something else?
That seems pretty reasonable. I mean, that would like free up a lot of suspicions. Like if it's no, then it's like, okay, well, everybody's
Who they say they are for the most part. Yeah.
For, at least as far as the context of this. And if it's yes,
All right.
then we know what to look for.
That's one vote for yes. What is Nebula and Burke? Are you okay with that question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's the question.
All right. So it looks you, as much as it, orients in your direction. No. And as the final question is answered, it winds up just kind of dissolving and disappearing. And there before you is the archway that you would walk through not all that long ago. And everything just appears as per, like you're in a normal dungeon. The golden lights glistening all around are gone, and you seem to be back in the dungeon that you were in not all that long ago.
So very quickly, I just want to fast whisper to the rest of the team that I don't think that we should tell the game makers that this happened.
You know how we were going to share all the information we all get with the rest of the teams? We're not doing that thing.
Well, I mean, if we know that it's one of the other teams that's doing it, then no, we're not doing that thing.
That's fair.
Well, actually, all we know is that somebody wants us to think that it's one of the other teams that's doing it. We don't know that this AI
True.
had accurate information at all. But
It could have actually been put here by the people. Oh yeah,
Now we're getting
if
into
you don't
Will
think that AI is going on the string board, you got another thing coming.
Oh, I love it.
Well, here's a thing, Nebula. And I would like to kind of whisper this so that it's not catchable as much as possible, or maybe nudge Tabitha to see if she can do something showy to up our score while I whisper to Nebula.
Oh, we're not in the thing anymore?
You are not. You are back in the dungeon, standing before the archway.
Oh.
okay.
Then I will I'll cast mirror image or something just to, and I'll plant my sword in the ground and whisper an incantation. It's just to distract people so Bert can whisper.
And I'll
and get
whisper
some showmanship.
to Nebula. So here's the thing. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to plant Freddy like you suggested.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Or
that's a bad
David.
idea either.
Or both.
It's a good idea. It's a good plan.
Maybe plant one at the exit and the other at the entrance or something.
Yeah.
So that's all.
I'm doing mirror image sword katas.
Oh, neat.
All right, so do you all step through?
Yep.
Yes.
Now if we get kidnapped, I'm gonna be mad.
Once again, we did not check.
That silence.
Oh no, did I
sorry.
guess right?
No, I was trying to do something and I totally goofed up on my sheets. So I was recording some data and what have you. But you step through and everything appears, as normal as you would expect it. There is, the sitting room that, they can go and ask you all the kinds of questions, and things appear a little less sharply in your mind about the dungeon run, as all of the questions that you've just been asked and answered and what have you in this little space of time that only existed for the group of you, that nobody else knows about. So your answers are a little slower on the uptake when you go through your exit questionnaire that you always seem to go through. But hey, you're not breathing heavy, and you don't have that that I just ran a marathon out of breath.
Unless we play that up on purpose and act like that's why we're off our game.
Okay.
I won't, despite her brief brush with unconsciousness. I look totally normal and fine. It was no big deal.
So
as my mirror image is ending too, I'll sheathe her sword so that all the images kind of into her sheath.
Oh, cool.
Collapse.
So are any of you trying to mimic that out of breathness that you typically have when you're coming out of this?
Oh God!
Oh no, I am not trained in deception.
Do I even have to breathe?
I don't know. Do you need?
No, I don't age.
I will try deception. Sure.
All right. So deception or performance, your pick.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna do performance then.
We're gonna do performance.
Oh no, we start each session with inspiration.
Yes, you start out.
Oh no.
Well, let's see if I can roll better than a 6.
Oh
yeah, we added 10 to that, so that's a 19.
All right.
24.
Nice.
Look, bards do a couple of things well.
Sure. Yeah.
Not in this edition. They do a lot of things well.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean skill wise,
Yeah.
That's one of the skills that I have ultra skill in.
Yeah. Unless we're talking about previous editions, then they didn't really do much of anything well.
Except buff your allies like a boss.
They died well in previous editions.
Hide behind the pile of dead bards.
That is true.
Yes, exactly. Hide behind the mound of dead bards.
So your questions go by, and there might be some weird looks at Tabitha always seems to be pretty low key anyway. So there's no questions there.
Okay.
And maybe
I think you meant the opposite of low key.
You're even keel. You don't
yeah. She's nonplussed.
You're not really phased by anything. So
right.
I would say that you don't seem to exert a lot anyway. So perhaps that's your norm. Burke is a very physical person. Perhaps he's got some endurance, or maybe this one wasn't all that challenging. But Burke's not out of breath like he kind of was before. But you go through your questions, and as per usual, you wind up heading back to the locker room. I don't think Hefty needed to make a performance check because
it's just
I don't think the
Burke.
Ganchuan answers questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a negative, I think, to performance.
He's also very
Maybe he can-
distracting.
Maybe he can be in the Gantuan Bowl when they.
I think he's a little small to get into the Ganchuan Bowl.
Oh man.
Well, no, they use baby Ganchuans for that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, you can't use full-grown Ganchuans for the Ganchuan Ball.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because
That
they're
would be like
they're
a
not
war
adorable
machine.
enough. Like,
yeah.
if you want people to watch the Ganchuan Ball instead of the actual like real game thing, you need them to be cute and adorable.
Yes.
Should get Hefty like an
This
endorsement
is like the
deal
settings
with
version
Gancho
of
and
the
Chow.
Puppy Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes me a while to catch references.
Sure.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
A nerd's
it was a
not
little
getting a
unfair
sports
because it
reference?
is sports ball and we're all nerds, right?
Yeah.
So,
But to our credit, we knew more about the Puppy Bowl than the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Everybody likes puppies.
Everybody likes puppies. If you don't
It's
like
true.
puppies, there is something wrong with you and you need to seek professional help.
Oh, that's it. We need a puppy for a purity test for the other teams, and anyone that doesn't like a puppy, we just murder them and assume they're evil.
No, it just means that there's something wrong with you. That could be a whole lot of different things. It might be a phobia you accumulated when you were a kid, like
I love that Lindsay Gloom said, "Let Hefty have his dreams."
Yeah, he can be like a
His
spokes
dreams.
Ganchuan
I love
or
her.
like Ganchuan Chow.
Yeah, Lindsay is quickly becoming my favorite person in the chat.
Yes.
We've bonded over the hatred of Bob.
And the love of
That's my
Hefty.
best friend right there.
So by the time you make it back to the locker room, 4 of the other 5 teams are totally there, chilling out, or what portions thereof.
All right,
say.
that's the gibbering mouthers were in there when we started, right?
Yeah. So round 3, Shining Unicorns went first, then Black Razor's Revenge, then Displacer Beast, then Gibbering Mouthers, then you guys, and Team Flump was you would imagine going into the dungeon now.
Yeah.
Did
So-
anything go wrong yet?
Well, nothing had except is the gibbering mouthers
So
score
the
up on
Gibbering
the board?
Mouthers score has gone up. They scored 83, bringing them up to a total of 252.
Okay.
Oh, bless
They're
you,
in-
Dave.
Dave is like the premier note taker. Like
I didn't take these notes.
No,
These are
these-
notes
these
that were.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we got these on
Doug,
the
I meant to say
on the
Doug.
Google.
No,
Yeah.
that was from Ted.
Yeah.
Doug is the premier note taker, but
Yeah,
I conned the
that's
GM to
email.
giving us the team information, and
Doug
then I
is our-
just put it
It
into
wasn't
a
in
doc.
a Google Doc before. This was
Yeah.
all copy pasted from that email we all got.
Yeah,
Yes, I do see Dave took notes on that instead. Because when I opened, I was like, "Oh, this is the same thing." Okay, never mind. Doug is our note taker.
Oh,
Doug is the
Huh.
note taker.
I didn't do all this.
Interesting.
Mm.
Humble.
My
too.
notes are terrible.
I obviously need to keep track of all the different things that have transpired. So therefore, because you've asked, I have no problems passing along things to you guys. Especially when it's things that you would have been able to ascertain through conversation or through observation.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
who's
red
at
slot
who's
out
at
there.
255 now? The Gibbering Mouthers.
They're at 252.
250.
Beasts are at 256. Black Razor's Revenge 268, and Shiny Unicorns 260. So
Black Razor's
will be
Revenge
right
is
now.
at 260. Shining Unicorn is at 268.
Oh,
I need to talk to Crag at some point. Like, no rush, but like I want to pin that for before the session ends.
So at the moment that you guys come in, obviously it usually takes a little bit of time. Is there anything you wish to do at that moment before your guys' score appears for the round?
I would like to ham up during our interview the danger that we faced and how fearlessly Tabitha faced down the thing without nary a care, and how Nebula was super cunning, and how Enzo was very insightful in his observation of our opponent's potential trying to lure someone into a trap, and basically just talking everybody up.
You guys wind up, recalling things a little differently than the notes that I have. I don't have a lot in the way of markings of you guys failing. I've got a lot in the "you guys did awesome" column. So either my note taking was shite, or you guys are vastly remembering something different than what had transpired. So during
I thought we did
during
awesome.
your exit interview, they're showing these little clips and takes of you running these gauntlets, and dancing your way through these spears, using the walls to your advantage in a variety of different ways. A lot of spectacularly, TV moments, if you want to call them.
Ooh.
The or telescreen moments, as they're called here, are going to be clipped and shared on Hark, for certain, after the they're at liberty to actually do so. And definitely some of these things, you recall you doing them, but they certainly looked a lot cooler from this side when there's no danger taking place that you're in.
Are they showing that in the locker room?
No, this is in your exit area.
Oh, okay.
I'm just watching like half of these and like remembering, like, I was terrified there. How did it look so good?
But you do know that these, that clips of what actually transpires in the dungeon is shown on the large telescreen in the locker room. So you will see that, or you will know that, some of your competitors will have seen the good and the bad. So
cool.
But in the locker room, you guys kind of chill and relax. Those who you have already had a little bit of cordial or positive relationship with do kind of greet you, but as per usual, with you not approaching, they give you your space, and your score comes in for round 3 at a staggering 96 points, bringing you up to 274. With the Team Flumph not having scored for round 3, you are currently in first place.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what did the Gibbering Mothers run? They were the gauntlet.
They ran the climb.
Okay.
They wound up fighting a shadow demon.
Ooh, those are nasty.
Well,
if we're hanging out in the locker room and they're showing those clips and stuff, and Raziel's in there, I'm gonna show. If they have that clip of me using that technique, I'm gonna point that out and be like, "Oh, that's that's the thing you showed me. Came in handy."
So go ahead and make a persuasion check on that.
All right.
But Raziel is definitely there.
Oh man, total of 5.
So
can I assist?
Sure. Go ahead and give it another roll there.
we stand this coupling.
That's better. 22.
Oh, that's much better.
Oh yeah.
2 is significantly better than 5. So they commend you on a couple of the stances, a couple of the maneuvers, but they definitely say, like, look, you can see that your elbow is not in the proper position here.
I'll take out my sword and be like, "Can you show me?"
And they absolutely, they'll wrap their hands, around and adjust, accordingly.
I see what you mean. That feels much better.
They show you, the angle of the cut was slightly off. You were at a 45 instead of a 60-degree angle. This is how you're supposed to go into that.
I definitely feel like I've learned a superior technique. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'll say thank you, I appreciate it in Celestial.
Oh,
Ooh.
Fancy.
you definitely get a bizarre reaction there, but like not bad. Like it's
Yeah.
they're a little
Surprised.
shocked, a little surprised.
Mm.
I've touched the higher planes, I say in Celestial. I'm not sure how or why.
There are responding in Celestial. There are not many these days who choose to learn this tongue, but it is worth for those who choose to do so.
I wasn't even a choice. I just knew it when I came back from touching the light.
Well, perhaps it is for a reason.
Perhaps. I'll say it, and I mysteriously walk away.
You know what? Enzo and Nebula.
Yeah.
We should all go and have some of Enzo's homemade elven dwarven food and leave Tabitha. And I kind of like block her with my body and like hip check her back towards towards Raziel. Is that what their name
Yeah.
is? And just be like, we should go and have that food so that Tabitha can cover more sword stances. And I like,
I think that's a good idea. You guys go ahead and save me a slice. I've actually got other stuff that I gotta do.
Yeah, so you weren't
Somewhere
certain
that is
exactly
required.
like after Raziel wound up correcting Tabitha's sword stance, the two of them like they begin talking, and unless you happen to understand Celestial, this almost like music quality tones wind up coming out of the two of them,
Cool.
and it's resonating quite weird in the room. Drives a couple people away, not like they don't like run away cringing or any of that kind of stuff, but like they're looking over at the two of them, and it's like that whole, you look and you just kind of slowly back your head away, and like then they just get up and leave.
They could feel how awful goodness was.
But like the rest of you just kind of watch, and as kind of even keel and monotone that Tabitha usually is, this is definitely something that you're not used to seeing.
mm-hmm.
These Azamar have angelic guides.
Can I wink over my shoulder at Tabitha as we leave?
No one can stop you from winking.
Yes. No.
Casually throwing
I hex
sand
you.
in your eyes on the way out. No.
Actually, you see, as you guys sort of like abandon her there, she was going to walk away. Her normally pale skin's a little
Flush.
like, flush. And I'm not really gonna, but I'm gonna cast Hex on these guys as they walk away, and I just give them my eyes turn black just for the effect. But I don't cast Hex. But I'm like,
Oh, love you too, bitch.
Mean Girls in D&D every.
yeah.
I thought
do,
I
man.
thought Tabitha was going to hex her to get to work the moves. Or those insight checks.
No. I was trying to walk away, but y'all left me here now.
For your own good.
Yes.
So, well, it is up to
That's
you
why I'm hexing you.
as to whether or not you wish to, continue your conversation with Raziel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to roleplay it all, but if you guys want to leave me there, sure. Talk celestial stuff. I am interested in religion and the afterlife, so who knows? Maybe they'll have some angelic guidance for me.
So,
Oh, hex, yeah, I like
Yeah.
that, Lindsay.
I just like Brian Smith said, the unstoppable winker.
That does not sound how you think it sounds, Brian.
That is fair.
Yeah, I went out.
But
I
it
might
sounds
suggest
funny.
that phrase be used.
Okay.
So do you actually have, religion?
Yeah, That's a proficient.
So I would imagine that they're just as inquisitive as to what as much as you are trying to get out of them.
Well, I would tell Raziel like the little bits that I remember of this sword and having some sort of urge or duty to protect something. I remember being some kind of knight or just little snippets, and then dying, and then I woke on a shores of a sleepy fishing village. I don't remember why I could speak this language, and all I had was this sword, and she became a fisherman on a boat, and just kind of that's all she did, and just tried to learn a lot about celestial things in the afterlife to see if she could figure out what had happened to her, but she never did.
Well, you guys go on for quite some time, with the back and forth with what you've learned and what they know. Definitely a lot of fun, but
Cool.
as much as you're willing to, kind of share about yourself, exchange.
Sure.
They seem to be in kind. Those around the common room, the locker room.
We had a moment.
Yes, you can have a moment. There are definitely some, kind of looks from the Dragonborn that's on the team with Raziel at the the mingling, the canoodling, whatever terminology you want to use for it.
Like he doesn't like me doing that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give him an unsettling presence if I catch him looking. It's not anything damaging. It just unsettles a creature I can see, and they have disadvantage on the next saving throw. But it's a thing. If I see him looking over at me, I just
you definitely get the vibe that he thinks that you are either like trying to like mess with his team or that you're trying to do something shady and underhanded. But
well, I am that.
He's Dragonborn.
Yeah, sure.
Reptilian emotions are definitely a little bit different, and
he can talk to Raziel later if you want.
Sure. But that's just what you observe through sitting there. So what was it that Nebula was looking to do? You said you had something.
I've been trying to get information out of Crag for 2 weeks. I'm he's either getting FaceTimed by me or I'm showing up in person.
Sure. So you can kind of request meetings with the.
I request an audience.
So like there are areas for sponsor activity and what have you, and it doesn't take long to get Crag into the building, and before too long there you are you're seated at a comfortable couch and table. There's some refreshments and what have you, and Crag is there. What can I assist you with?
Did you get my email?
Yes, and please remind Ted exactly what it was that you were.
So I, on the sly, sent an email, and I'm pretty sure that my tech roll was relatively high for it so that it wouldn't be traceable.
Yes.
About like exactly what was going on with the competition, like the problems that we've been having, and just wondering if he could figure anything out from the outside.
Yeah, you would made a high roll, and you would even set up a dummy address, and then you would send a message from your regular to be like, hey, look, I'm sending you something. It's not coming from regular, but I need it to be untraceable, blah, 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 blah.
I didn't want to get clandestine on Maine.
Right. Sure. And, Crag is definitely hip to all of that. This particular kobold, is awfully sly, very intelligent. He would not be where he was if he was not. So he kind of, pulls out a device, actually just kind of slides the sleeve and, touches the device on his arm, and the lights kind of shimmer a bit. and you get the idea that anything that might be recording in this particular area no longer is, or is kind of doing something different. All right, we can speak plainly here. Your message had some specifics in it, but not enough.
Okay, what else do you need to know?
Well, obviously, there's been some things to transpire since you sent that message a few days ago.
I will just tell him all the things that have happened, including like the weird AI warping that went down.
All right, so let me just pull things out, and he pulls out a data pad, and he begins kind of just speaking, and the points are just kind of appearing as bullet points. There's been time delays in the dungeon.
Yep.
There's been trickery afoot.
Yep.
Someone has died.
Yes. By the way, the person that passed in the dungeon, any relation of yours? I'm not asking because you're both kobolds. I'm asking because you both have Crag in your name.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, Craig is my my given name, and he has Craig in his surname.
Yeah, no, I know that that's the case. It was just an odd coincidence, so I thought that I would ask if there was any connection there.
Nope, I never met this individual before.
Okay.
This particular competition. But and then this meeting with a sentient program that supposedly self deletes and what have you. This is quite the conundrum, and very unlike other things that have transpired. Hairball Ideas has not really been large in the D&D space, but we would like to make it so. Yes, that is totally a plug for Nerdarchy's product, Hairball Ideas, getting bigger in the D&D space. But that's just me. The concepts here are definitely not adding up. We have programming that is supposed to not allow for permanent injury, and let's face it, death certainly is a permanent factor. And while the Clockers took care of it, and Skick is alive and well, the problem is that is not supposed to transpire. Right. Elements outside the realm of these glitches, like they're altering the flow of the game. They're changing what is happening to all of you. This is not something that, as a sponsor, someone who is legitimately paying to get my name associated with things, not really thrilled about.
No, I can imagine that you aren't, but I mean, that's all the more reason that you would want to see it fixed, I'm sure.
So what kind of, beyond looking at the facts, what kind of supposition have you and your team put together?
Okay, so I'm going to get into the things that we were talking about, like in the weird AI sphere that we were in. The fact that, like, we don't for sure know that it actually was one of the other teams, but that the AI wanted us to think that it was. That it had to have been somebody that had both the ability to donk with the technological aspect and the magical aspect. And we know this for sure because it's been on both fronts. So, and like, here are some of the ways that we're thinking about, like, figuring it out, like setting a watch. This is definitely something that we're going to do, like going forward with all of that. But like what I had been hoping to figure out through this conversation was if he could just find anything, like
So the thing to really look at here is, who is the pool of suspects? You have the concept of it could be a team or a team member that is responsible for it. It could be somebody outside the realm of this competition.
I don't think that's it.
I would agree with that as well. Or it's somebody within the competition itself.
Which right now seems like the most likely thing.
Now, if we look at it being a team person, if the programming itself is being altered so that these glitches happen, would that also make this AI and its lines of questioning become suspect?
Yes, absolutely it does. That's part of the reason why I'm here.
So it would mean that any data collected from that conversation would entirely be useless because it is being provided.
No, it wouldn't. Because if it is fictitious, if it's not real, then the false information that we were fed still tells us something.
Okay.
We know that this is what this person wants us to think.
Excellent. And you see he's got a smug smile, as if his statements were like leading you to that kind of direction. Now, if it's on the other side that it is someone part of the show, we have to ask why. And if it is someone that is leading you down this road and they were unable to provide you with information.
Unable or unwilling?
Both stand apart and correct. But regardless of which, if they did not provide the information, we have to ask why. Was there something involved? Is there someone involved that is stopping it? You told me that you got into the code of the AI and saw the complexity of it.
If I didn't know for sure that it wasn't me, I would be my number one suspect.
Well, I'm glad that we have got this place secured. Very few have the skills to be able to do that. And again, you spoke longer than what we've done here to give all the data and detail that you have provided. And you definitely seem to have impressed Crag here. You don't need a roll to see that he's definitely raised his little reptilian eyebrows a number of times. The information that you are saying here and the data you've collected and the way you went about doing it, but it takes a significant level of mastery to get into this kind of coding using the tool set that you have access to.
I know.
Being able to do it on the fly is even more so. Now, I do not know much about the individuals in the competition beyond our questioning during the interviews. There are not many that stood out, if any, that give any kind of air of base knowledge, let alone mastery.
You didn't think that I did it first either.
That is true.
I don't flaunt this, and there's a reason for that.
So that is an element to be on the lookout for. Is there
So-
someone on a team that is attempting this on the fly as you did? The other side is, if it's not a team, how could it be done?
So part of what I need to be figuring out right now is who else has the know-how to get into these machines in the first place. And there are probably some leading questions that I could ask to try and figure that out. It's a direction to go in at any rate. Ted,
Yes.
may I make an insight check to see if I suspect that he's behind this?
Oh, you absolutely can.
I was low-key thinking that the whole time this was going on.
It's all been a test.
13. I got 13.
I mean, he seems
Inspiration.
Oh yeah, I haven't used it yet.
Sure.
16.
He seems to be on the level.
Okay.
Nothing here seems to give you the concept of, oh well, he's not hemming and hawing. He seems interested. Doesn't seem shocked or concealing any kind of reaction. Now, as a reptilian race, as we stated earlier with the Dragonborn, emotions might not necessarily be the same. But you also know that this guy is pretty darn smart and wise. He could have any kind of technology at his beck and call. So if he really wanted, he could come in here and have something that's controlling breathing pattern and heart rate if he needed to do such a thing.
I mean, heck, even the thing that he used to scramble the cameras could be doing that. Like, all right, that's fair. I had to check. I had to
Sure.
try. I got my suspicions, but like,
Hey, that's the great part about these things is
that was
anything is possible.
at this juncture, that was about 45% of my reason for coming into this interview right now. So,
So it looks like he's trying to guide your thinking with the insight roll of a 16. You kind of gather the thought of there's probably data that you have that you might not be thinking that
Okay.
might aid your decision. But with him not being in the dungeons, him not being in the locker room, he's not going to have access to everything that you're seeing, that you're observing. He can be a soundboard. He is certainly impressed by you, and certainly lets you know that he is happy to continue sponsoring your team. But it doesn't say your team. He's happy to continue sponsoring you. And that seems a little pointed, a little pungent, punchy, as he says it. But like nothing seems off about this guy. Nothing seems to give you any kind of red flags. But whether it's because he's being controlled by, devices to make sure he doesn't, or because it's something else, who knows?
So that is all I needed, and of course I will sit and continue with the niceties and just make sure everything is copacetic before I go back. But I will let the rest of the team know when we sit down to have the next private conversation that I do kind of think that he's more interested in making sure that I'm like learning the process of how to figure out what I'm doing than he is just telling me the things he's found out. But that I don't think whoever is doing this is bragging about it on the internet, or we'd have heard about it from him.
Right. Yeah, he lets you know that like there's no outside clues that he's able to ascertain.
No chatter on the dark web.
There's nothing out there that whatever is happening, it is certainly happening on the sly.
It's contained.
Can certainly remind you that you guys all have that all of the happenings that are going on. You can't be talking about on the internet, emails or what have you. NDAs are a thing, and you have to, make sure. Otherwise, you could spoil, the telescreen program. And
Mm-hmm.
this is like way beyond spoiler charges at this point.
well, yes, but it is still a show, and as show business says, the show must go on.
But I am not completely sure that it's not him. Those suspicions are not totally dead. Like, there is still a part of me that's like, maybe. So, what I'm going to do is between this session and next, I'm going to be like doing some research into this guy's history and seeing if he'd have a motive.
Sure.
Hmm.
You guys know that you've got, the evening and a free day tomorrow. Before the delve back in, you always get a day off to be able to rest and recoup.
But Ted, I'm going to make sure that every single search I do is using a different proxy IP so that it cannot be traced back to me. Like, I am covering my tracks.
Get a VPN.
Like, at least a dozen different ones that I'm pinging between. Yes.
So when I get a chance, I want to get the rest of the group together.
Sure.
Yes.
I want to interact with Enzo, if that's okay.
Yeah.
While Nebula is off with Crag and Tabitha is canoodling with Raziel, I could absolutely have a conversation with Enzo.
Okay. So Burke is gonna go up to Enzo and be like, "Hey, could I ask you a favor?"
You can ask. Sure.
I notably don't have Hefty with me. Could you maybe make me like this Schwarzberry steak? It's made from Ganchuans, but not from Hefty. But I just, that old dwarf elven dish that's like fusion and it's got the mushrooms in it. Like, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of homesick.
Yeah, I can absolutely make that. Yeah, you better, but just keep Hefty away from me when I do. I feel a little guilty when he's around. I've never felt this way about food before, but
Yeah, I know it's a very hard thing,
and it's worse with the bunny ears on him.
Yeah, it's easier when you grow up.
He looks up at me with those big brown eyes. And I couldn't stand to be cooking Ganchuan and look down at those eyes. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
They are so delicious when prepared right.
Yeah. What got you into cooking elven and dwarven cuisine in the first place? I'm just curious. Like, for me, obviously it comes kind of naturally because Dwelf, but for you, I mean, it's not exactly apparent.
Yeah, there's not too many people or places where you can get that kind of cuisine. And, I fell in love with it the first time that I had it. And I realized like a lot of the techniques that are used for this cooking style would work really, really nice with my blade knife training that isn't being used, so I thought it would be a little bit different, and I love the food, and it's like it's got the like the fanciness of elves combined with the practicality of the dwarves, and also the dwarves living underground use some pretty exotic ingredients that most other cooks don't know how to use. I mean, you use some of that fungus the wrong way, you'll kill somebody. So like I like the challenge, as well. And then adding the aesthetic of the way the elves cook with the practicality of the dwarves and that, and then again, a little bit of the danger with knowing how to prepare it without killing somebody. I don't know, it kind of gives me a rush.
Oh, I see. For me, it's much less dangerous and much more just homey. What's your home like? Like, I've got brothers and sisters and stuff, but what do you have at home?
Well, both my mom and my dad were chefs, right? So,
Oh,
but they don't really like the experimental cooking. They like the traditional, human fare from the country where we're from, and they're a little upset with me when I didn't like follow in their footsteps, and I went off, as they say, become a fancy elven chef, too good for us, blah blah blah. When I went to
oh,
cooking school, in the Elven City, and then I spent some time, underground with the dwarves. It's, I love to travel too. So I haven't really been home since. As a matter of fact, they kind of told me not to come back.
oh,
So I gotta prove them wrong. I gotta show them that I can make it as a chef. I'm gonna have my own restaurant, and that's why I entered the cooking competition, so I could win the prize money and for the experience of cooking under a famous master chef. Well, that part didn't work out so well, so now I'm here. There's no famous master chefs, but if I win the prize money, I'll be able to start my own restaurant.
oh, that's really, really noble.
What
Like,
about
wanting
you?
to
Like,
prove that you're right.
how did your mom and dad get together? Like, you don't see too many dwarf elf couples. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't like each other a lot of times.
Yeah, they ended up how well, even now there's still a little bit of that adventuring nonsense where people go and actually risk their lives over treasures and whatnot. Well, they were part of one of the last crews that was exploring these ruins before everything got explored, basically. And one thing led to another, like it does, and they got together. Didn't matter that one was magic and one was a fighter or dwarf elf. None of it mattered. All that mattered was they were in love and they were there for each other. They've always been there for me and my brothers and sisters. So I can't really imagine what it would be like not having your parents support your decisions. Like, I'm literally in this competition so I can save the farm from, being sold off and us having to move somewhere like this city or something.
How
So,
many
like, we're very tight. We're
how
very
many
close.
brothers and sisters do you have? I feel like every time you talk about them, you mention another name.
Oh, I have 11 brothers and sisters.
Oh my goodness. Um, you know, working in the different kitchens of dwarves and elves. That's pretty rare. Like dwarves usually don't have that many children, and elves don't either. A lot of times elves don't even start having children until they get much much older.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's
No,
11.
they
Oh
love
my
each other
goodness.
very much.
Yeah. It's like
But
you.
yeah,
I feel like your family may have half of the whole dwarf population under one roof.
I mean, our family reunions, we're always the biggest one. We also get a lot of side looks because there aren't really any other dwells. It's like we go to the elf, and all of a sudden, dad and my three brothers and the twins get some looks, and then we go to the dwarf side, and now all of a sudden, the rest of us are getting looks, and it's just a whole to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, family reunions are a little bit awkward, but
Sounds tough. Well, you got a really big family, so you're gonna start your own reunions, and then it'll be
yeah.
normal, right? Because they'll all be used to dwarfs.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of that though. We could do a potluck. You'll have to teach me how to cook something. I'm not great with the cooking nonsense, or I would have cooked myself something. Even though Hefty, I still had to put him in the pan.
I don't
But
I don't know that I'm very good at teaching, but I can try. I mean,
yeah, I would like that. You know, um, for what it's worth, you're a really good chef
oh,
and
thank
you're
you.
a good person.
Well, I try. Maybe not that hard, but it's hard. The kitchen business, cooking. Chefs very cutthroat. and also they're hard to learn under. There's a lot of screaming and yelling and cursing and swearing.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I've been threatened to be stabbed.
Oh my, that sounds very chaotic and a little dangerous. Like, apparently, the cooking world is full of dangerous things, which is not at all my experience, but okay, you would know better.
I mean, you don't know how many times I've heard a budding chef say, "I should have been an adventurer."
Hmm. Oh, well,
It's a common phrase in the kitchen.
that's interesting. I never would have known that. That's a good phrase.
Yeah,
Makes me think
it's a lot of
we're doing
pressure and
something right.
stress, but it's worth it. To see people enjoying something you made, knowing that you
Yeah,
nourish people, it feels good.
yeah. I don't know why anybody wouldn't support that. That's great.
Yeah. So, what's wrong with the farm?
Oh, well, Ganchuans are very large and they eat a lot, and uh, it's just rising prices, and the land is getting scarce. We've been there for generations, and the pine forests and the mountains, and it's you know, well, it was a couple bad crop seasons, and that's really all it took. Now the Ganchuans are hungry and money's tight, so we can't really go buy food to feed them. So I'm hoping to use the prize money to kind of just get everything even again.
Oh, aren't you worried it'll happen again?
I mean, it might, but
It
that's
seems like a
kind of
band aid.
farming. You take a risk.
Maybe you can talk to Tabitha. No, not Tabitha. Nebula. Maybe you can talk to Nebula. Maybe there's some like technological upgrades or advances you can do to the farm to make it more efficient. You know, I don't know. Or maybe if you save the farm and I open my restaurant, we can source from your farm to try and
Oh,
help.
that's not a bad idea. And Ganchuans, I mean, their meat lasts for a long time. That's one of the great things about them, but not hefty. I'm never hefty. Hefty special. You
He,
know,
he certainly
I
is.
I kind of discovered he's got a little bit of magic.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I don't know if it's from our band or what it is, but if I want to, I can make him change form. Sometimes he gets smaller, but he can shapeshift, kind of like a druid. It's pretty cool.
How does he feel about you mucking with his shape?
Hmm.
How does he feel about you mucking with shape? And if you make him something that's not a Gantuan, is he still a Gantuan?
Oh, well, yeah, he's still a Ganchuan. It's not so much something I do, it's something I help him do, if that makes sense. Like we just kind of understand each other. It's really interesting.
It,
That's
it
why I wanted to make sure that he was in the pen when I asked for this, because mom used to make this all the time, but I don't want Hefty to see it or smell it.
this well, I don't know. Are Gantuans like pigs? Pigs will eat pigs. You know that, right? It's so weird. I was
Oh,
I was at the market one time and there was this kid feeding his pet pig bacon. And I'm
oh,
like, why are you feeding your pig bacon? That is so wrong. And
oh,
then they were
yes, it
like,
is.
bacon loves bacon. And I was just like, these kids these days.
Maybe that's why I saw this barbecue place that had a pig outside dancing around eating one of the sandwiches. I thought it was very disturbing.
It
But
gets weird when you get into pigs. So I don't know. Are Gantuans are they cannibals?
I've only ever seen them eat the pine needles and this flower that they really seem to like that only grows in the mountains. That's why they climb up to get it, because it's only on ledges. But when they get too big, they can't have it anymore because no more ledge. It just crumbles underneath them.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, when Tabitha gets back, we should gather the rest to us. I got some
Yeah,
thoughts.
I agree.
All right, so Nebula and Tabitha, before too long, wind up returning. You guys might
Okay, hold on. I got a note.
go for it.
If I beat Tabitha to the door, I'm gonna hack the door so she has to say "Ubu" for us to get in.
Ooh.
And it has to be Tabitha. Like nobody else's voice will do it.
Would I know that I have to say that?
Yes, it says so. It's like displayed on the screen. You gotta read the word.
Just ooh woo?
Yep.
So I just stand there with my RBF and say ooh woo.
That was not
Ooh,
nearly
woo.
as funny as I thought it was going to be. But I did get it on tape, so I'm satisfied. Okay, now go.
Is that an anime thing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what it means. Is there a special way to say it?
No, you said it right. That's
okay.
exactly what it is. It's a face, and it's like a really sickeningly stereotypically cute thing to say. And
Maybe
it's
she
just
then
very
leans
not
in real
tabby.
close so you don't have to, so nobody's saying it, just says it like that. So the footage you get is like her awkward right up to the camera. Ooh woo.
All right, so
Just
these
knock my computer over there.
last few hours of evening, what is it that you guys wind up discussing?
Well, so if any of the tampering is going to happen, I think it's going to happen tonight. Because if they do it tomorrow night, they're gonna have to stay up and be tired for the run. Also, we can see who sleeps in if we get up early. In addition to planting one of your little friends in the plant.
Do you
So
have
we're
any
gonna
idea?
set a
ahead.
watch.
Good.
I thought
Do
we
you
were
have
gonna use
any-
one of your devices or whatever. And it's like hide
Okay.
them.
All right. I'll set David out because he's the older model and a little bit
Expendable.
smaller, I believe. We'll just like set him in one of the potted plants, and I will instruct him to follow whoever comes through.
Do any of you have any, like, who do you think is doing any of this? Do you have any strong feelings?
No.
Well, I think that Nebula thinks it's not Seraphina, but I'm not convinced.
No, it's definitely not Seraphina. She doesn't know enough.
It couldn't be. It absolutely couldn't be. Tristan McKinnon. It can't be Tristan McKinnon.
Who do you most think it might be?
It's definitely Chef Bob. I don't think he's smart enough to do it alone, no, but he is evil enough.
I'm not convinced it's not Crag. I'm sorry. I just have a feeling. And
What?
like the conversation that I had with him, like I just got a vibe like he was trying to get me to learn something more than he was trying to tell me something. And I just have a feeling.
The reason
for a minute there, I thought you
asked,
meant the dead kobold.
No, I wouldn't
That's
even
not
be
dead
mad
anymore.
is the thing. Like
the reason I ask is we could throw somebody off potentially if you had any idea was and I'll demonstrate my illusory script, which is like I can just I'll write like I'll write on a thing. It just says like my name is Tabitha, and as all of you except Nebula, it says my name is Tabitha, and Nebula it says like, oh, I need to talk to you later. And so like I can make a note that only like it'll be a different message for anybody I designate. Okay. So if we knew who it was, we could say, maybe leave some sort of message for them, like I know what you did, or and to everybody else it would just say whatever we want.
Good luck in the dungeon.
So we need
something like that.
We need to find out more about the flumps. And I don't think.
But we could test it out if we at least had anybody we know. I could just designate like that person and leave it out tonight. I mean, I don't know what it would say, but at least if it wasn't that person, it would just say "Good luck with the competition." But if it was, they would see something different.
I will forewarn you that I can't do pass without a trace on us if we want to hide, because I don't have any spell slots left.
Why don't we I make a note that says something like, we're on to you, meet us where the first rune was changed, or something like that, and we can wait there. then if it is that person and they show up, we'll know. But if not, then everybody else would just see a note that said good luck tomorrow.
I think keep that in your back pocket and let us follow first. And if we get an idea of who it is, then we'll resort to that after.
Just putting all our cards on the table.
So as David,
it's a good idea.
So as
it's a very good idea.
As Dave is set in the flower pot for the evening to try and see if there are any late night lurkers in the locker room or any things to transpire, we're gonna end there, and we'll see what happens. If all of you want to give me some ideas in between now and next session as to what kind of things you would like to do with your day off, so that we can speed through them to be able to enter into the next layer of the dungeon next time.
I have one quick question.
Oh, one quick question, real quick.
Is there any cooking ingredients that my character might know of that they could put out in front of everyone's door, that like almost like flour, but not like so noticeable, that we could check in, like kind of like check in the morning?
Like pepper. What color is the floor?
Nobody had to go to the bathroom during the night.
Well, I think there's bathrooms in our rooms, right?
You guys have like your own
personal, like a college dorm. Walking with their basket and all their shampoo down the hall.
You can take care of all of the necessities inside, or you can go down the hallway and hang out in the locker room where there is yet even more kitchen type stuff for communal activities.
Maybe like an ingredient that the dwarves use that's a fungus that's sensitive to light. So when you hit it with light,
like if the hallway door went on, they'd be like,
sure. can totally allow something like that to happen.
Okay. So before, like after everyone kind of like retires, I'm going to wait a little while till things quiet down, and I'm going to go and like spread that in front of all the doors.
All right. So before we wind up leaving and doing that, messages and whatnot, I will throw out yet again, Vault of Magic. We're down to like $709 away from the Nerdarchist Ted stretch goal. We run up seeing some movement, following along here.
Cool.
So definitely go hit that up. They're not a sponsor, but Kobold Press is awesome, and I'd like to, actually see my my name in another D&D books.
Yeah, they had a big jump. They had a big jump today.
Yeah, it's it's been close to $4 or $5 grand. I've watched it today.
Cool.
And it's a book of magic items. If you play D&D, why wouldn't you want a book of magic items?
Yeah,
who doesn't want that?
I want a book of magic items.
Yeah, super inspirational. Like, yeah.
So go check it out. Help out, an awesome company. And with that, we'll be back, tomorrow with the regular live chat. We'll be back next week for, episode 8 of Dungeons and Delving. And you guys know the drill. Until next time,
stay nerdy.
Nerdy.